Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another exciting episode of Mainstream Mondays here on Horror Film Lovers. I'm your host, Jonathan Moody, and I've got my awesome co host here. How are you doing, John Ward?
I'm doing good. Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing great. Now, I told you before, I think I told you on the phone, that I thought I had seen this movie, and I remember renting it. I think I remembered watching it, right? Like it sounded familiar, the story. Then I watched it and I was like, I don't think I've seen this movie. And
I
I know
find
I
that
would have
weird.
and I would have remembered it because it's very specific to things. So I know I have not seen it. So it's
Yeah,
my
that's
first
that's
time
that's
watching it.
weird. Wow.
And
First time watch.
yeah, and I'm actually kind of happy. Um, so I watched it and I it was cool to watch it for the first time, honestly, because it went places that I did not know it would go. They definitely went there. Um, the only problem I have with this movie is it's not a horror film necessarily. It's a thriller.
Well, it's
It,
it's it's dark science fiction.
it's dark science fiction. It's science fiction. It's all that stuff, but it's not necessarily horror.
Well, but the Final Destination movies aren't horror. Those are science
I think
fiction.
they are because the
I
people
think
are
they're science
getting
fiction.
killed by different whatever. But I mean, there is death and there is fucked up things. So I mean, baby, I mean, some of the stuff is scary, in a way. Like you really don't know which way things are gonna go sometimes, and they take turns. Um, so we'll bring it up to like the story. Basically, is this guy played by Ashton Kutcher is Evan Tramer, or is that his name? Is Trebor or
Evan.
something?
Evan,
Ev-
we could stick with Evan. That's
Evan
correct.
Evan Evan T. You know, and he is a when we first meet him, we sort of see that because we see him as a child, as 7 years old. Apparently, he did, like his mother gets called into the classroom by the teacher, thinking that he had done something, really messed up, which is make a picture that was very violent, you know, and
That poster was that picture was very well drawn.
yeah,
I mean,
for
he
like
could
a
have been like a comic book artist. I mean, that is a too well drawn for somebody
yeah,
his age. So
yeah, for
that
seven
that
year
that I
old.
think is that's a fault. I because they
You think
show it
they
a
should
couple
have?
times.
You
Yeah,
think
it
they
should have
should
been
have made it?
shitty.
Yeah,
Should have just been
yeah,
like a stick figure holding a knife,
yeah.
not something
But
off of a comic book panel.
I think the fact that it was really well drawn, like, freaks people out more. I guess because it is very descriptive. Like it's very
They never mention that. They just say, "Look what he drew."
yeah. I thought, but I looked at it. I was like, oh my god, that's intense. Um, I think if it were stick figures, it wouldn't have been as intense. But obviously, but that would be more realistic. However, how much of this movie is realistic? Come on now. Um, and so anyway, so we meet the kid, and so from the very start of the movie, I thought, oh shit, this kid's gonna be a fucked up serial killer or something, like what the fuck. And turns out, I guess that the other kid, planted it in his, the one who's actually fucked up, planted it on the kid, on his friend. That's what the idea is. Like he he did. He was like, I didn't draw this. So the other. I'm pretty sure the crazy kid did that.
I know they say that, but when he goes back to do the stigmata, that
Hmm.
picture he's working on that
I
drawing,
thought so too. I thought he was working on. I thought that was a little weird.
and
Um.
nobody comments. He sets it down, walks away, and like nobody at the table like looks at his picture. So
Hmm.
I that confused me because it's like, wait, he did draw this. It's right in front of him, and he goes to do the stigmata thing.
Hmm. Yeah. So I don't. That was that whole stigmata thing. We'll get back to that later because that shouldn't have even been in the movie.
Why?
Um. Oh, well, I heard somebody say that, and I agreed with them, that the problem with that scene is that if he goes in there and he changes anything in that scene, right? So say he goes back, sees, okay, I'm gonna prove to this guy, and he puts his hands down on the thing. When he comes back, though he would have altered reality, somehow. So maybe he wouldn't have been in that same place. That kid guy would not have seen him at all. That was the biggest mess up in the movie.
Unless the stigmata got him into jail, like because of the stigmata as a kid, because he,
Well, but
that
see, then
led to, so he was always meant to do it.
he was have seen flashes and had new memories and everything. Just which is my favorite part of the movie, and I think I told you that before, but that's my favorite part of the movie is the flashes and everything. Kind of reminds me of Final Destination, the premonitions and stuff, so which that's why we're doing this, is because it's written and directed by the guys who wrote Final Destination 2, which
And one of the writers of part 4.
And one of the writers of part 4, yeah, Eric Bress. So anyway, to go back to that, yeah, you're right. If that stigmata scene, he wouldn't have been drawing that picture. Somebody else would have been drawing the picture, but he was. So maybe you did do that and you just claimed somebody else. Maybe
or
that
it's
was
a
what they
messed up,
or it's a mess up, like a
or it's a
continuity
mess
issue.
up. Yeah, it's because like even with the mom, I could swear she said at one point that there were 3 babies, and then at one point she said 4. I'm like, wait, I thought there were 3. Like he was number 4 or something. But yet she goes, no, there were 4. So at 2 different points in the film, she said like she had the stillbirths, and she said there were 3, which then would make him 4. But then near the end of the film, she says 4, which would have made him 5.
Maybe that's changed. Maybe because she it was a later thing, maybe something, I don't know, like I guess it wouldn't have changed that particular thing. I don't know. That's weird. I have no
Did you have
idea.
time to listen to the audio commentary?
I didn't. I wanted to last night, and I literally had to crash. Like I've been running on Steam doing, like, me, doing a million projects and other things, and so I was going to listen to it last night. I got home. I did a bunch of work that I had to do. I was like, I'm gonna watch it now, and I was about to, and I was like, I can't. I gotta go to bed. Like, I'm not gonna, like. It's I don't like to listen to things when I'm sleeping. I'm weird like that. Some people love it. I don't like noise because I can't I can't focus on sleeping. I want to watch whatever's on
This
television.
is a very long explanation of why you didn't listen to the audio commentary.
What did you expect me to give you, the short explanation? The
Yeah,
actual,
just
like.
no, I didn't.
That sounds about right.
And then I had to go out and mow the lawn,
And
and I had to
people
paint the house.
I actually mowed the lawn today, but and people wonder why this is 2 hours long.
I know. I mean, I didn't listen to it. I was going to, but I watched everything on the DVD, like
Right.
everything I could possibly. And I thought, okay, I'm going to take a break. I'll come back and I'll listen to the audio commentary. But then I went, oh, it's almost 2. It's like 2 hours,
Yeah.
and I didn't want to do that. And then I was going to maybe watch part 2, kind of like I did with Final Destination. And I went, I'm just butterflied out. I can't watch any more Butterfly Effect.
What I was gonna do was I was gonna do it because I did another podcast right before this one, and I was like, okay, I have like 2 hours. I could just turn it on for a little bit, listen to it, right? But then I got hungry and had to eat, and I also had to talk to someone, so it didn't work out. Anyway, whatever. It just maybe I'll listen to it later and be like, they explained a lot that we are now, whatever. Maybe I'll bring it up during Butterfly Effect too, with like things.
Well, they do mention in the making of that it took them, it was 6 years that they were writing this.
Mhm.
So, and they did say what the original idea is totally different than what we're seeing on screen. It's like a completely different script.
Remember, that's what Jeffrey said about the first Final Destination script. It was like different than what the outcome became, because I mean, you rewrite and rewrite and rewrite, and then eventually it becomes a different movie, than the original conception. But it's, I don't know. All right, so we'll go back to was it he made or didn't make that picture, so we don't know. And he gets in trouble, and then we meet him later, and we start seeing the blackouts or happen. Like the blackout happened with them, like specific events happen where he just doesn't remember certain things, and so we find out that later that is part of his powers, I guess, if you want to call them that, whatever you want to say, that his father had, whatever his grandfather had them too. Like,
Yeah,
because
because
it
he
sounds,
brings up the granddad. Yeah.
yeah. So it's, it's a hereditary power, I guess,
That
passed down.
that's why when we spoke, I said, I don't know, maybe it's not, maybe it's all in his head. you know,
Maybe, but
because the doctor does tell him near the end of the film, there are no journals. There are no, everything you think is not correct, and you're in here because you couldn't deal with, I think her name is Haley, the girlfriend.
Kaylee, and
Haley, that you accidentally killed her.
well, so okay, so that could be true. That could be the
Now,
way it actually is.
now here's something. So you have Eric Stoltz, who's named George. He was supposed to play Marty McFly in Back to the Future,
George McFly.
and his dad is George McFly. Connection.
I don't think
Connection.
so. I don't know.
Connection.
If it were
to-
Crispin Glover, maybe, I don't know, but Crispin Glover would have been a funny person to put in that role.
Oh God.
I think he would get a much creepier.
I'm still
feel.
bummed that he was never in part two, but but
I've met the guy that was, though, that took his place, and in fact, I don't think was it Crispin ever really liked him. I don't blame him.
wouldn't.
I don't blame him either, but it's not his fault. Was he gonna say
No,
down
no.
the role because, like, whatever. I like, literally, if somebody took a role from me, I'd be upset, but I wouldn't blame that that actor.
Well, see, I don't know. And then Eric Stoltz is George, and this is a pedophile. See, I don't know. I think that there's, and in Back to the Future, the mom wants to have sex with her son, so there's incest, and they bring up incest in this.
I
I
maybe
think there's a butterfly effect, thing
all right.
going on in Back to the Future.
All right. Well, we'll talk
I
about
think-
that. I guess.
I think so.
Maybe. Maybe it is. It is a time. Back to the Future is a time travel movie. This is a time travel movie.
See,
They're connected.
so how do we know that Eric Stoltz isn't Marty McFly from Back to the Future,
but just changed his name to George?
and just made his name George?
Because I never thought Marty McFly was a pedophile.
No, but the mom was into incest because she wanted to have sex with her son.
But he never actually had sex with her, though. So he never.
No,
because
he kept avoiding it.
Right.
Yeah.
He crossed that. He never crossed that line.
No, I don't know. I mean, hey, if my mom looked like that,
All right. We're not like.
I'm just saying.
This isn't becoming a TikTok clip. All right.
Just
So,
saying.
all right, we're going to move on to that topic that I feel like you need a therapist for. But so anyway, next. So we kind of see, like, he blacks out, he has these issues, and he doesn't know why, right? Um, and but like there are really significant nasty events in his life, and we'll go through them. So one is the pedophile issue where Kaylee's dad and Tommy's dad is trying to, and at first I thought it was odd because I did not realize, and I guess I didn't pay attention close enough in the beginning, but I didn't realize that Tommy and Kaylee were brother and sister, right? So I thought they were just all friends, right? And stuff. Um, Even though I should have when Eric Stoltz says, "Oh, you're gonna be the lead of this." And then Tommy's like, "I thought I was gonna be the lead." And he was like, "What did I tell you? You know, I should have known that was
But
my
see,
father."
that's weird shit because that means that the dad wants the son to make out and do more stuff with his daughter.
He's a fucked up character, dude.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
wanted to watch his.
And Tommy, he always hates what's his face, Ashton Kutcher's character, because he wants to get with his sister, and so it's just like Tommy's like, no, I want to fuck my sister.
That's where I thought, because I didn't realize they're brother and sister. That's where I thought they were they were all friends, right? And I thought the guy was just jealous because he liked Kaylee, you know?
I could see that. Yeah,
Right?
I
So
could see that.
I didn't put two and two together in the beginning. But later when it's like, "Oh, my brother Tommy," you go, "Oh." And then that made me feel even weirder. Like, why does brother Tommy care if they're if I mean, I guess because it's his friend, and he doesn't want his friend to be making out with his sister and
I don't
stuff.
know. I dated
Necessarily.
some girl long time ago. I mean, we're talking decades ago. And I met her at the video store I worked at, and we started dating, and her brother hated me. And I said, well, why does your brother hate me so much? What did I do to him? I don't even know him. And she's like, oh, because he wants his best friend to be dating me. And I'm like,
That's even weirder.
your brother wants his best friend to fuck you?
Yeah,
That's weird.
that
I
sounds like
mean,
another thing that needs to be talked to a therapist about.
yeah, it was very strange family dynamic, and eventually we broke up. But who knows? Maybe she started dating the friend. I don't know. But it's just so I don't know. I don't put it out of the realm of possibility that Tommy, all mentally messed up, wanted to have sex with his own sister, and that the dad George was okay with it because he was going to record it.
I think the dad was originally setting that up, maybe, but then when Evan came to stay with them for the whatever time, he just, so I don't know. So anyway, he blacks out in that situation, the pedophile situation. Then we see Tommy is a really fucked up little kid at first, right? So he beats the shit out of some guy and then gets the security at the movie theater when he
Well,
finds
that
out.
I don't blame him for because the guy was older. He should have known better. He tripped Tommy. Tommy dropped all of his shit. So I don't blame him. I mean,
Well, I
most.
mean, but the way he did it was brutal.
Oh,
Like
I
he
love how
was
he took like the like the post for the line and
mhm,
just slammed him in the face with it.
and just knocked it and like he fucking like beat the shit out of him
You
and stuff.
deserve it. And then the guy's girlfriend's like, stop it, stop it. It's like, well, then maybe your boyfriend shouldn't be an asshole because some little
Yeah.
kid who's half his size is going to take him down.
Yeah.
I love seeing videos like that on YouTube. Where it's like the wimpy little guy and the big guy's like, come on, man, come on. And the little guy actually knows like kung fu and just kicks the shit out of the big guy.
That's Bruce Lee's story right there. Um, but anyway, so so that scene I thought was like that was the first start, other than the pedophile scene, which was pretty like, oh God, what have I gotten myself into, sort of thing, like
Yeah,
when
the
you first
dad goes
watch it,
right
you're just
for
like,
it.
I know, and like you're just feeling very uncomfortable. And I almost there's a few scenes in this movie that, I mean, that scene was rough because I don't like any scenes with pedophile stuff. Like I don't feel comfortable at all with
Oh, another thing you don't like, Jonathan. Now you don't like pedophiles.
I've
Jeez.
never liked
Next thing
pedophiles.
you're going to say is you don't like rape. God, come on.
Pretty much. Even rape, like, I don't know. Whatever. Anyway,
Well,
uh,
they obviously the writers and who were the directors were going for the worst things imaginable.
right. Because what I really like about this movie is the idea of a perfect world, right? That's what Evan's trying to do. He's trying to make, an outcome where everybody is happy, right? But the problem is when he goes and tries to fix everything, he just keeps making it worse for at least for someone else, if not for him. Later, it's for him, but really, it's for everybody else at first. All his friends keep getting shit on and everything from him fixing everything. So we see certain things like we see the mailbox incident where which traumatizes Lenny. I think that's Owen,
Lenny, yeah.
traumatizes him and everything, and really fucks him up. And we meet, we see him later or whatever, and then we see the terrible, the worst one. You know my love for dogs, but that scene, man, I was like, the fuck, no, no. And thank God you don't really see anything, but like,
Yeah, I remember it being worse, and I'm glad that it wasn't as bad as I remember it. And because you would think that probably the worst one would be the mom and the little baby being blown up, but we never see it.
we never see it.
So that's bad. But you see the dog in the bag tied up, and it's just doing its feet thing, like get me out of this thing, and you know what's coming because it's in the bag. You just know it, and they start spraying the lighter fluid on the dog.
Yeah, and he tries to cut the burlap sack or whatever, and cut the rope or whatever. He can't get it out, so he can't save the dog. And so that was terrible. That was such a traumatizing like event. And it just goes to show you, I mean, in a way, I mean, these are the worst imaginable things that could happen to you in childhood. But I think we've all been there, right? Not to that extreme, but we've
But
all
they're
had moments in our lives where
sure.
somebody has done something really fucked up, and you're like, oh my God, I'll never forget this, kind of
Right.
thing. And so these are just the worst, like of the worst. Is like, okay, pedophile, terrible. What's next?
Now we'll burn it
Baby,
off.
baby, and a
Oh
uh,
yeah, yeah, baby and
baby and a
mommy.
mommy get blown up. Oh, dog being killed like that. Like, oh my God, like these are just like terrible things. And I could see where people would almost maybe black shit out, whatever, like traumatizing events. And so, sort of what I guess ultimately should have happened, but then there would be no movie, is that Evan should have said, because he started remembering things, and he's just like, you know what, maybe I just don't go down that path, right? I think there's at one point somebody told him, don't, just leave it alone,
Well,
like,
that was the punk guy. That
yeah,
was Thumper.
Thumper. I loved him, man, which is Ethan
He's
Suplee.
actually the best and nicest character in this whole movie.
Oh
While
yeah.
everyone else is even the nice guys are kind of shitbags. But Thumper is, and what I like about Thumper is here he is a punk anarchist, most likely atheist, and he's the nicest one of them all. But yet you see people with crucifixes and you see people with Jesus tattoos, and they're horrible people.
I mean, it sort of gives you that go to church on Sunday kind of feel of like how people are, say they say they're one thing, but like, preach one thing, but do absolutely the opposite, way. And then the worst part, I am a Christian, but the worst part is a lot of people will go, well, it's okay that I fucked up and did this stuff because I'm a sinner.
No, it's not okay.
It's not
It's
okay.
because the
Absolutely
worst
not.
people out there are actually born again Christians, and those are the worst possible people out there ever. They're worse than regular Christians. So they're, which is why I like Thumper. Is he he's me. He would be.
So you felt like he was the one you could identify the most with?
Yeah, probably. Just the music and the attitude, and he's only a dick to what's his name, Ethan.
Evan.
Evan. He's only a dick to Evan because apparently Evan was a dick to him when he was a frat boy.
Right. When he becomes a frat boy or whatever, when that whole situation happens and he becomes the one, which was a great, like, sort of great life for him, like, even though apparently he was talking different, I guess he was
Yeah, she
more
said
like
talking different, walking
walking different.
different.
But he was like, all of a sudden, like, everything he wanted was there, except at that point, because of what happened, Tommy is psycho and just got released from prison, or whatever, and comes
and
after
and
him.
is still obsessed about fucking his sister and not letting. I mean, you would think out of all the people that he would want to date her, that I keep forgetting. I keep wanting to say Evan.
It is Evan.
Oh, it is Evan. Okay, you would think Evan would be the guy.
Well, you just, like you said, was it your friend said that the best friend, wanted you wanted to date your the best friend wanted to date your sister or date the sister of the girl you were actually dating,
Right.
and I think that's really funny, but it's all awkward. Period. I have a brother and two sisters, and none of which I've ever thought I wanted any of my friends to date any of my, like, I want my life and my family life to be completely separate, and sometimes that didn't happen, or whatever, but most of the time it did, just because of age gap mainly, I was lucky I was never like that close in age. And that's another thing. They were all like, I guess, I don't know how old Tommy was. I'm guessing they weren't twins, right?
No, because I'm looking at your pictures. So unless
Which one's younger? I'm guessing Tommy was younger.
Tommy looks like he might be the youngest.
Yeah.
I mean, kind of in the order of your picture there. So maybe like Tommy, then it was
The Lenny.
Lemmy, and then
But no, because they all have the same age thing on IMDb. Um, I believe. I'm gonna check this out real quick because I might be wrong, but I believe on
oh, does it say like age, like
it says the
actor?
age, yeah, like it says the character name, then Evan at age 13, Kaylee at age 13, Lenny at 13, and Tommy at 13. So I guess they were twins, you know?
I don't
They
know.
never
Look at those
talk
height
about that.
differences, man. That's a pretty. I mean, no wonder
It's almost
Tommy's
like they go
also angry,
down, They
and
get,
Tommy's like a midget. He's got
yeah.
Napoleon, syndrome.
Oh yeah, he definitely does. He has that every
But
time
it's great casting though,
oh,
from that young age all the way up to
they looked
you.
all like the characters, except I'll just say that the Amy Smart characters, like both of them, did not. I would not have seen if, because he recognizes Kaylee at the diner, and I wouldn't have, like I wouldn't have put two and two together that that's her, you know. I would have maybe with the clumsiness, but like he like looks at her and all of a sudden he knows that's her, and he hasn't seen her since he had moved when he was 13. So I don't know. I never would have
Oh, because he's so into her, maybe
I
he just
guess
knows.
maybe he just knows.
I mean, how would she know it's him? The two actors look nothing alike. You know,
exactly.
so,
So
but I mean, if you're into somebody, you just kind of know it.
you can just kind of tell when you see them.
Yeah,
Um,
and I don't necessarily mean like looks wise that they did a great job. I mean, I think they did fine. It never bothered me, but just the acting and everything is pretty
spot
dead
on to
on for
like,
yeah.
yeah, to who the people are. Um, so when we see Evan years later, he's older, he hasn't had a blackout in 7 years. Probably because no trauma has been happening to him in 7 years since he moved away from psycho Tommy and pedophile father, like shit that's going on. But we did find out a little bit too, like apparently, I guess Tommy was getting the brunt of stuff too from the father, so it was making him psycho.
Well, yeah, because Evan said, you got to treat your daughter like a princess, like a father should. Oh, by the way, your son's a psycho. You may want to do something about that.
Right.
Instead of
Well,
saying you need to treat your son and daughter, like they're kings and queens and show them love. And no, instead he set it up to where Tommy got the brunt of everything.
yeah, which was kind of fucked up. Um, but so we meet Evan as an adult without any issues and stuff, and he's I guess he's living a pretty good life, right?
Yeah, he's
You
got
know,
the anniversary. What did he say? Like seven
seven
years
years and
without a blackout.
he took like a class and he did a test, he did his midterms or whatever, and he I guess they said it was something was like he needed to make it up because he like messed up.
Oh, that's another part. The first time is he turns it in, and then he talks to the professor
Right.
and how he's doing research on like dreams, blackouts, things like that. And he's I'm the blackout guy, so I'm going to do that. It was later that the professor, it was in a different reality, I believe, that the professor left the message that said, "Hey, you didn't show up today."
Okay.
And then that's when Tommy left the message saying, "I'm going to kill you." It was right after that.
Oh, that's right. You're absolutely right because he had already changed something in order for what's her name to kill herself and everything. If he hadn't
Yeah.
like
See,
fucked
kind of like Final Destination. Leave shit
well
alone, dude.
well no,
Stop,
but see no that
stop going. She was perfectly fine, messed up, but she was fine as that waitress. And she would go home. She wasn't the
she
drug
didn't
addict
think
yet.
about anything.
Yeah,
Um
she kind of blocked it out. And if she truly wanted to, she could go to night school. She could go and do something with her life, but she
but
chooses not to. So, but she's doing okay. So if he just would have left her alone instead
I
of
feel like are we
stop,
gonna do this every movie period? Like
because it's written by the guys who wrote Final Destination too. Stop
right.
trying to fix things. I've said this in other videos. White people, stop going to third world countries to try to help people. You're just going to be eaten by cannibals.
Uh,
Don't do these things.
the Green
Stop
Inferno,
it.
baby. All right.
It happens every time.
But
So
look,
I think if Evan would have just left stuff alone.
we'll see. Okay, so here's the thing. So he was doing just fine. Everything was good. He wasn't even thinking about Kaylee. He had some girl in his dorm. Everything was going, things were starting to look like things were gonna go good for him. And then she pulls out his journal. And then when she pulls out his journal, he's like, "Oh, yeah, I haven't read this thing in forever. Let me," and he reads it, and that's when he goes into one of his things, and that's when he changes something because he's like, "I'm not used to this. Like, I don't know why I'm like feeling I'm actually here." He changes one thing, and but you're right. After that, like he comes back to life. He comes back to the world. Everything's whatever. Things seem like they're fine, right? You know, and he goes to first he goes to see Lenny, and Lenny is fucked up beyond belief. Playing with his whatever
Model
model
airplanes.
model airplanes and stuff. and all he can,
Lindy likes planes.
yeah, and he keeps like kind of talking about he keeps like quoting Tommy, because Tommy keeps saying all these, quotes that are like, you mess with me, I'm gonna fuck you up, and shit like that. And it gets like really intense and shit. And so,
Yeah, it's like all this stuff from the junkyard.
yeah. So Evan leaves, and then he wants to track down Kaylee, you know. So he goes and contacts Kaylee at the diner, and because he was in that like thing when he was in that world, he saw that again. He Because he didn't see it when he blacked out. He didn't know any of that stuff happened, you know. So he brings it up to Kaylee and wanted to just, he thought he was helping her, by bringing it up. And she got upset and
Really?
was
Or
like,
was it just to help himself?
well, yeah, maybe both. Because I think he was trying to help her out because he thought something had happened that he didn't know, you know? And
Well, yeah, he wanted to know what happened during
he
the
wanted to
blackout.
know what happened. But and he saw some of it. So he saw some of the stuff that he never saw before, right? Because he had those are the moments that he blacked out at, you know. So he was there, able to talk to her about it and stuff, and she was like, I don't fucking I don't want to talk about this. How dare you bring it up? Blah 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 blah. She leaves, he leaves, everything, whatever. Like I understand, he understood she was upset. Then she gets the call from the professor saying, I think you messed up. Do you need to
Well, yeah,
take
because
this
he
again?
he left that day to go like find her and Lenny and all that stuff, so he missed the
But
test.
he didn't know, and we didn't see the memories come back. But I'm guessing because he had gone back into there the first time that he fucked up. That was the one reality. That was a different reality. So maybe he wasn't. Maybe in that reality he wasn't a very good. He wasn't the greatest student, or he did some. Right?
I think I no, I think that he was a good student because the teacher wouldn't call him to say, "Hey, you missed your test." Because remember when he's the frat boy
I thought
and
he
he
said there
missed
was
the
something
test.
wrong with your test. That's what I thought I remembered
No, I
hearing.
think he just said that you missed the test
Oh, you
and
missed
that
the
you could
test.
make it up on Wednesday or
Oh,
whatever.
that's right. He did say you could make it up. So,
Yeah. But then
okay.
when he's the frat boy and he's like, "Hey, man, hey, Doctor So and So," who he thought he was buddies with, but he's not. And
Yeah,
then
it's
he's
like, I
like,
don't know who
"Can
you
I
are.
make it up?" Yeah, and the teacher's like, "No, it sucks to be you,
We're no,
frat boy."
no, no, he didn't say that. He said it's about to start, so sit and take your seat, because remember, he was about to do it then. So,
Nothing ever came of him cheating or not cheating. He crumples up the the
well,
the cheat sheet
honestly,
and then throws it away, and but nobody ever brings it up.
yeah, I mean, that I don't know if I guess the cheating was just showing that in this world, in this universe, or different alternate reality, that he was a kind of a worse student than the way he was before. Now, if they do the butterfly effect again, what I would suggest, which would be cool, would be, because it is all about alternate realities and alternate takes. It would be cool if they filmed certain like different alternate takes on everything, you know? So then you could almost like put different things into the movie, you know? But I guess that would take too long. That would be cool, right? Like a DVD would have whole different things. You never know what you're gonna get, if you're gonna get this this reality or another reality or this
I
other
mean,
stuff
like click
happening.
one, you go to one scene, click
No,
two,
like
you
you
go to
don't
another
even
scene.
it
Yeah, I'm not following
I don't
Taylor.
know. Somehow or another you could do it where it just does it automatically, just gives you a whole different movie. I don't know. That sounds like that's something that would be really hard to figure out
Yeah,
on a
I I
DVD, but
I
that would
I
be
don't. I'm
awesome.
not following at all. A whole
Oh,
different movie.
yeah, because like it would be a whole new different realities that happen.
Well,
Like
you're getting that though. You're getting the different reality.
what I'm saying is like but even at each movie you get, or each when you buy the DVD, you don't know if this is going to be the ones that this happens on or this happens on. I don't know. Like there's some cool shit you could do, but it would probably
I
be
mean, that
costly.
sounds
And
like what they did with Return to House on Haunted Hill.
oh, did they do that?
Yeah, you could click on different things, like the character goes down a hallway or the
Oh,
character
but that's like
opens a
choose your own
door.
adventure. I don't know. I wouldn't even want that. I would just want it where you don't know. Kind of like, Clue. At the end of Clue, they have like the three alternate endings,
Right.
right? Wouldn't it have been cool if you bought Clue and it's a DVD and it has one ending on it, but you don't know which one it is?
Uh, no, because if you're a collector, then you want all three endings, which means you have to buy like 20 of them just to get the three different endings. Because you'd end up buying like five of the same ending.
Mm, maybe because you wouldn't know.
I mean, you kind of got that with this. I mean, you got the director's cut ending, you
And
got
you
the
have the
theatrical
theatrical.
ending, and then you have the two alternate theatrical endings that are in the deleted scenes.
Oh, I didn't see those. I didn't check those out. But we'll talk about that later because I would like to hear more about it once we get to the end. So we're still in the middle of the movie. And the what is it? And actually beginning of the movie still. We're in the second act now. So he's now he's tested it out. He finds out that Kaylee killed herself by Tommy. Tommy tells him, and now he says, I'm gonna kill you. So he thinks the best idea is to look in the journal again, look in the journal again and find out if there's any other things he can alternate and fix, you know. And so he reads another one and forgot which one's the next one he did. Did he do the mailbox next or did he do the dog next? I think it was the mailbox. No.
I think the mailbox is the mailbox was the big one.
Right. So I think the next one
Because he
was
goes
the
back to that like three times.
yeah. So maybe the next one was the dog or something, you know?
Well, the dog is the one where he finally gets the full grasp on.
Oh, yeah.
So like he goes back to, once he fully gets what he's doing, he goes, back to Eric Stoltz and he's like, hey, motherfucker, and then
Okay. So
and
it
then
was the
that's
pedophile thing. And he went and talked to the dad at that particular time. And that he said, I'm gonna, you're being watched, blah, 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 blah. You better be good to your daughter and all this stuff. And, and your son's a psycho, whatever, right?
what I didn't get with that is later on, he says, okay, we need to get rid of the blockbuster, which is the big ass firecracker. And which is like the size of this thing,
Mm-hmm.
and that blows up the mailbox. So he goes back and he tells the dad, "Oh, I like forgot my shirt or something like that." Whatever he says to walk away, and he goes and he knows exactly where the blockbuster is. He takes it out of like the thermos, and then he kind of does the with the lighter. He like threatens to blow everything up, and then of course that's where the daughter gets blown up and
That's
killed.
later. Yeah, that's later in the.
Why would you do that? I went back and looked and thought, what was his end goal with that? Because if the whole thing was to have Tommy not get it, why not just take it and put it someplace else?
Yeah, just take it and walk out and leave and go somewhere else, or throw it in
because
down.
he could leave at that moment. He could go grab it. He could go, look, motherfucker, you're going to treat your daughter good, and then just leave, or take it and hide it someplace else in the basement. What was the end goal of him threatening to light it? And then, I mean, I guess to move to the next thing that she dies.
Well,
And
yeah,
then,
because that had to happen.
right, it just doesn't make any sense to me. It's like they were
it's kind of
stuck.
stupid. Like they were probably stuck on like, how are we gonna get it to be at the end where he's in the hospital, or whatever. in the mental hospital.
See, I think a lot of that's why I think sometimes this is in his head, because I almost think like maybe, in reality, he does go down to the basement and he does know where this thing is. And then, you know, is it Haley?
Kaylee.
Haley?
Kaylee.
Kaylee. Kaylee died. Just call her fucking Haley. It's so much easier than Kaylee.
Ugh.
Kaylee dies. And then from that moment on, him as like a teenager, he's in the asylum.
Right.
And everything else is in his head. And he's just kind of playing it over and over again.
So,
how can I fix this? How can I fix this? How can I fix this?
My only two problems with that is that whole idea of it being all in his head is, well, the way that I saw it myself was that because he went to what is it went to the mental hospital like right after he accidentally killed his friend, he had no reason to write in the journals. So there were never any journals growing up of all these different events because they never happened.
Because there were no journals, just like the doctor said.
But there were no journals because they never happened, because he had created an alternate reality in which he wasn't doing any of the other stuff. None of the other stuff ended up happening.
So you would have to figure out before Kaylee dies, which reality is the actual reality that leads up to him downstairs. Like maybe he does have blackouts. People have blackouts.
Mm-hmm.
So he has the blackout. He doesn't know what's going on. Where are we? We were upstairs before. What's happening? And Eric Stoltz, George, is like, okay, you little shit, this is what we're going to do. And then he's like, you know what? I know where this blockbuster is. I'm going to threaten to kill him because I know what he's doing.
Right.
And he kills her, goes to court, does all the stuff that we don't see, ends up in the institution because he's never accepted that he's killed Kaylee. And as he's there on his bed, he's just going through. There were never any journals. There were nothing. And he just goes through this whole thing in his head, like a plan for like robbing a bank or getting a jewel or something that you always see in movies where they have like the 4 or 5 different ways that they're going to steal it. And then that's when he, so like he doesn't go back in time and kill himself as a baby. He doesn't do any of that. It's just they get him. They burst into the office and grab him.
So we see all of that stuff happening because it's still all in his head. We're just saying the stuff that's in his head.
I think it's a possibility. Yeah.
I don't know, because then we would have, if they really wanted that to be the ending in a way, they would have probably ended it where everything happened, but then we come back and we still see him laying in bed laughing or something, because he's still alive. Because
it's like Inception. We don't see the little spinny thing.
I don't like Inception. Like I don't. Oh my
god,
I don't like it.
I want you to make a list of the things you like, because I think that's going to be like 3 things. It's going to be like number 1, Marvel, number 2, Star Wars, number 3, I don't know.
Horror comedies.
Horror comedies. I mean, my God, the things you don't like must be like the size of a phone book.
Well, I'm just saying, because Inception is just, at the end of the day, it just doesn't matter, like it's just all whatever you want it to be kind of thing.
No, because there is an ending. If the camera maybe was on it for 30 more seconds, we would see if the top fell or not.
But we didn't.
Right. So in a way, what you just said is correct, that it doesn't really matter, but it matters if it matters or not to, Leo's character.
Right. But we don't know. Like, it's just, it just bothers me. I just get like, so like, I'm kind of like Sheldon, from Big Bang Theory. I know you probably don't like that show. but I
I
do.
love Big
So
Bang
they're,
Theory. Yeah.
oh, well, you know how he has the
Wow, you
OC.
like something.
Yeah. Well, he has that OCD about like there's a whole episode where he doesn't like the fact that Alphas was canceled by Sci-Fi because
Right. So he
they did
calls
in
the
a cliffhanger,
creator.
right, and all that stuff. So that that's sort of like me. I like movies and things that like give me an outcome,
Well,
you know.
but look what happened to Sheldon. He thought the ending sucked. He goes, no wonder it was canceled.
Right.
So
But he
was
was
it better to
happy.
not
Yes, but
know?
he was
No, he
happy
wasn't.
that he knew.
He was disappointed.
He was disappointed, but he was happy that he knew. He got it out. He got it,
I don't know.
you
We'd have to
know.
watch that episode again because he seemed pretty pissed when he got off the phone. I mean,
Well,
he's just
yeah,
like, well, no
he was
wonder it
pissed
was
at it.
canceled.
No
And
wonder it was canceled. But remember, he doesn't like things being like, like when the dominoes, there's one domino that didn't fall, or whatever. You need that one to fall. If you do the knock, 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 you have to do it 3 times, for him. He has OCD or whatever about it. I'm like that too. I like things to be finished. Even if I'm sad with the thing, at least I can be like, well, that ending sucked. But I don't like to go to a movie and see an ending and go, the fuck? What happened? Like, I don't like it. It does not make me feel good. It makes me angry. And so this movie actually to me, had an ending that satisfied me. Now, whether or not, and we talked about it on the phone, I compared this a little bit to Donnie Darko, and other people have compared this to Donnie Darko as well. Because like, time travel and the idea that I guess like fixing things and making them better, making a better world, or whatever.
well, I mean,
Trying,
he didn't make anything better.
he tried. Like
No,
that
I
was
don't think
whole.
he did. I don't think he did at all. He sacrificed himself to save his girlfriend. That's what he did.
He was
That
trying to
that's
make it was a love story, you know, because the whole, thing was he wanted to, everything he was doing was for him and his girlfriend, right? Because, and it was for him, and it was selfish, very selfish,
it's
because,
incredibly selfish because of his parents, his sister,
yeah,
his friends, and now what's his face, his character is now
what's
going to go
sister?
molest a bunch of.
What's sister?
Donnie Darko had two sisters.
Oh, okay, yeah. I thought we were talking about,
Remember, one is S. Darko,
yes. So
the
he
Donnie
was trying to
Darko
do,
tale.
everything to save his girlfriend from being
But
killed.
yet it was okay for him to let Patrick Swayze's character go molest more children. So
I don't
maybe
think he was thinking about that at the time. No, once again,
he
that's a selfish thing.
went to his house and burnt it all down, which allowed the
Right.
cop or the fireman
And he
to
found
find the
out,
pedophile room.
right, which he didn't know about. It just happened that when he burned it down, that's what happened, and everybody was, sort of having
Well, I
a
think
kiddie
that was
porn
the
room.
idea, was that the whole idea, without him knowing it, was to burn it down to find that room.
Right.
I mean, that's why he was kind of sent there. He may have not known why he was sent there, but
Yeah, he had
it
no
was
idea why Frank sent him there. Um, he also, in a way, he saves Frank. Frank doesn't get shot in the eye, you know.
well. Once again, you have to weigh what's better. Is it better to save the girlfriend and not have Frank get shot in the eye, or now have your family completely destroyed? And let a guy go off and molest
And
children.
maybe,
And then there was the religious nut woman who worshipped him. Once
yeah,
again, showing how bad it is.
yeah, because she believes him.
Donnie the atheist is the one who sacrifices himself,
She
not the.
believes him. Actually, I don't think he was an atheist. I think he was agnostic.
No, I don't think
Um,
so.
I think so because he started having feelings about God and stuff. Like he was, as somebody who was
He had
atheist,
questions.
right? And he even brought that up to the teacher who was atheist, and actually said, "I can't discuss this with you," and thing because he's a scientist and he doesn't believe in God and he doesn't want to get
Well, the
into that
reason why he
discussion.
can't discuss this is that he would get fired.
Yes, He would get fired for telling him that there is no God.
Well, to a point, yeah. I mean, you just
Yeah,
can't,
right.
believe in it or not. You can't do
But what
that
I'm saying
stuff
is, I
in
think
school.
he kept talking about, well, there's got to be a God if there's a blah 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 blah, right? He says that line. I think he was an agnostic, if anything. He wasn't a religious person. He wasn't whatever. So that's that. I don't know. Only Richard Kelly can tell us what Donnie Darko actually was, or maybe Jake Gyllenhaal. Um,
I
but
don't think anybody knows. I think it's. I've used David Lynch as my example many times.
yeah,
David Lynch, what did Mulholland Drive mean? Oh, I know. You'll just have to figure it out. No, you don't. You don't know. You don't have any idea what
I think
Mulholland Drive
so.
is about.
I think Richard Kelly actually knows a lot more because he did do a director's cut that actually
Which is
explained too much.
worse.
Yeah,
Well,
explained too
it doesn't
much.
explain too much. Is that the pacing is off?
Yeah, and the
It's
music was
it's it's
terrible.
horribly paced.
The music was
So
worse. I actually like the
theatrical version is much better.
yeah, I agree. Which no, and sometimes like this director's cut for Butterfly Effect, I watched the ending to the theatrical cut and I was like, yeah,
Well, okay, so that's the better of the three like theatrical endings. So
okay,
that one is the best one where she thinks she's like, huh, wait, what? And then he kind of looks at her and then they go in the opposite directions. That's the way it should have ended.
uh-huh,
If you're doing that version for the theaters, that's it. The other one is they cross, they look, she moves on, and the directors, there's audio commentary on it, says that he stalks her. He turns and then goes to follow her.
mm,
And that's where it ends. So eventually he does talk to her. Then the second one is they cross, they turn and look at each other, and he still has all of his memories, but she has none. And she goes, "Don't I know you from somewhere?" And he's like, "Maybe." And she goes, "Well, my name is," and then he goes, "Kaylee." And she goes, "What?" And he's like, "Oh, well, you just look like a Kaylee." And
oh
the director
god,
said that it was all ad libbed. So
oh
then he goes,
god,
"Hey, do you want to go grab a cup of coffee?" And that's kind of where the camera pulls out.
yeah,
And
I
they
don't like
said
that.
those are the worst two endings because it removes every single thing that his character did.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going to go with the theatrical ending, it has to be with the one on the film because then it has meaning.
Right,
Because if
but I
he
still didn't like
does
it.
go, no, it's not great, but but I mean, it's
But then
better
again,
than
it doesn't matter to you because he's all still in his head. None of that actually happened.
it could be. He could be in the asylum. He could be all strapped down. He's figured it all out. And he's like, you know what? I just have to go back in my brain and go to the party, the birthday party, and tell her to go fuck herself. And I'll never talk to her. And then he has some sort of thought of them like, but would I ever meet her in the future? And he sees, she's walking down the street. He's walking down the street. And he goes, no, even in his brain, he's like, I just have to ignore it.
So out of the theatrical and the director's cut, I thought you liked the director's cut better.
The director's cut is better. The director's cut ending is one of the greatest endings to have in film history.
Right.
I'm
Where
saying if you're going off of the theatrical endings, those three endings, the one that's on the film is the best.
right.
If they had, if they were going to keep it that way.
They didn't have a director's cut alternate ending, did they?
No, just it was just the baby.
So that's, I mean, I think that's what, I mean, it's a director's cut. So that's originally what they wanted to do. But probably the studio was like, oh no, you're not going to kill a baby, with an umbilical cord. Actually, it's so funny because
So brilliant.
I was talking to somebody yesterday about this movie. And I said, because they had only seen the theatrical version, right? And so they remember the two meetings and whatever and blah and stuff. And I said, well, the theatrical ending actually ends with him seeing himself as at a maternity, like, home video of him and the hospital. And so he goes back in there as if he can, jump in there, which makes no sense because he didn't black out, right? So
No, which then leads to, and it'll be curious of what the other two films do is so he could do it on paper.
You could do it on
He
paper.
he can do it with home movies.
He can do it with home movies. He can do it
So
with pictures because
pictures.
that's what his dad could do.
So that's why I tend to think that maybe this is all in his head, because then that means he could do it with anything. He could do it with a chair. He could do it with a piece of fruit. He could do it with
I mean, would you
anything.
consider all of those things to be art? Movies, paintings, writing, all kind of art.
They all fall in the arts, sure.
Yeah. So maybe it's arts stuff. It couldn't be a chair, but it could be like, he could do it at a museum. He could do it at, you know, whatever, something to do with art,
Well,
crafts,
but it
whatever.
also has to do with whatever he wants to go back to. So
Maybe that's
he
why he
asked
was
the mom for the home movies because I guess he remembered there being a home movie of him meeting Kaylee, and so he could look at that.
No, he wasn't even looking at that, was he?
Oh, that's the director. That's the theatrical version.
No. Okay,
Is that
that oh
the
yeah, that is the
theatrical one?
theatrical
Is he?
version.
Yeah, is that he? We see the rough Super 8 footage or whatever it is, and then he goes into it and tells her to f off. Otherwise, yeah, it's somebody filming the mom's
Birth.
giving birth to him.
Yeah, which
Now,
I'm
you
like,
want to hear? Here's something weird. I have no proof of this, except my mother used to tell me this. My grandmother once said it was true, and my grandmother once said it was not true. According to my mother, I was born as triplets. And as they were bringing us out of her womb, the umbilical cords were wrapped around two of their necks.
oh
And
Jesus.
as they were pulling the babies out, it strangled them to death. My umbilical cord was wrapped around my stomach, which is how
Right.
I survived.
So
Now,
you would have had two brother like a brother and a sister, or
I don't know if they were male or female, but
okay.
I would have had, yeah, there would have been triplets.
But why would your grandma say that's not true?
So my mother would always say, whenever she, would get pissed at me, because my mother's a psycho, is she would always say, I wish you were one of my children that was killed in the womb.
Oh God, that's mean.
Yeah. And so a couple
Wow.
times I went to go ask my grandmother, is this story true? And once she said yes. And I asked her again many years later, and then she said no. So I don't know. There's absolutely no proof of this whatsoever.
You never seen like births or well, I guess there wouldn't be any
My birth
certificates.
certificate, that's it.
Yeah.
But I mean,
I
it's
don't know.
and my
That's
mother's
weird.
not that creative.
So maybe it is true. Wow.
Yeah, she does have a creative bone in her body. So it's like I have absolutely no idea. But while watching this film with him doing the umbilical cord on himself, I'm like, oh shit, that's what my mom used to tell me.
So yeah, so I explained that to this dude that I was friends with that had just remembered seeing the theatrical and he was like, wait, what? Like a baby, he strangles himself with his own umbilical cord. And I'm like, how does he do that? And I'm like,
He just kind
he
of
kind of just, yeah, just kind of does it. Like, and I said, well, because he's Evan as from an adult perspective inside the baby,
in the
basically,
baby knowing how to do it.
yeah,
Yeah.
because like that's how he did it with that's how he comes up to the father and he says, these certain things. It's not the child saying these things because even Eric Stoltz's character goes, "How are you doing this?"
Yeah. What's
Remember?
going on here? What's
Yeah, what's
happening?
going on?
Yeah.
How are you doing this? He says, "How are you doing this?" That I remember specifically, and I go,
Yeah.
"Wait a minute. Like, does he know something? Does he know like there's something wrong with this kid? Like,
See,
maybe
that
maybe
goes
you're
back
right."
because remember the mother when she has cancer
Hmm.
and Evan is like, I'm gonna fix this. She's like, no, no, no. Like
But she,
she knows what he's going to do.
well, because she knows the father, and the father kept doing stuff like this. She was saying,
There's our
remember,
prequel.
right? That would have been cool. That would be cool. I would love that. Because I kind of wanted to know more from the father. He's like stuck inside the mental hospital or whatever. And he's obviously, you know, God damn it, you're making me think like maybe all this shit really is in their head because like he's stuck in the mental hospital. Why hasn't he been able to just get a journal out and, or something, or look, like, because you remember he said, your father's been looking for these things, and they're not there. So either you're right and it's all in both of their heads because they're fucking schizophrenic or have issues, right? Or it's not in both of their heads, right? And he is and the father lost the journal doing the exact same thing that that Ashton Kutcher tried to do, right? So he tried to do some stuff and then he fucked up and he lost the journal because, or what is it, not journal, what was it, pictures or whatever, right? He would do pictures, I guess, so like maybe he lost it somehow, like because of changing some kind of timeline, that he all of a sudden he wouldn't have been in that situation where he would have those pictures. So because he doesn't have the journal and he doesn't have the pictures, they just screwed themselves up.
So how long has the dad been in there for? Because if she's had, let's say, 3 stillborns,
Right.
so he had to go in, right? Where I would assume the dad was the one who got the mom pregnant every time.
Yeah.
So that means that the dad was out of the institution for at least 2 or 3 of those, depending on how many is correct in the film. So let's just say 3.
And
And
there,
then Evan is now she's pregnant with Evan. Well, we see him at the birth. The
right.
dad is at the birth looking normal.
Right.
You know,
And so maybe it was after that because we have 7 years before everything crazy starts happening to the son. So maybe, see, this is the thing where it doesn't tell you any of these things, but you're supposed to like think about it. Like, I actually really like this movie for one really good reason, which is that it makes you, it's what Alfred Hitchcock used to call icebox stories, right? You'd watch a movie on the television and then you would go to ice, you would go to go grab a drink, like out of the refrigerator and talk about it with the person, or whatever. And I thought that's a great thing, like where it's just something you have to, it's layered in different things and different ideas, where you're going to be wondering, is it in his head? I don't like those things. I don't like it's all a dream. Paul knows this, and anytime he picks one, sometimes it's all a dream. He does it just to piss me off,
well,
or
it's like Sucker Punch. Sucker Punch
yeah,
is the same way.
yeah,
It's the entire 2-hour movie is the seconds before she gets her lobotomy with the nail right in the eye.
right,
So that's the whole thing, is it's her coping with getting this lobotomy.
right,
So the film never happened.
right.
The only thing that happened was her getting the lobotomy.
Hmm. That fucking pisses me off. Like, I don't like that. It's a stupid, like the first time it ever happened, like I ever was Wizard of Oz, right? But they did it so well where it was a dream, but she was bringing people in her life into
Was
into
it?
the story. Was it a dream? I don't know.
Because
Like,
we have
that's a good
Return to
question.
Oz, we have all these other Oz books and movies and all that type of stuff. So was it in her head, or is Oz a place?
Maybe Bob Oz is a place inside her head.
Zardoz, there's always Zardoz, which is the sequel to The Wizard of Oz with Sean Connery. Gun good, penis bad.
All right. So what
But I think this film, and I do love the butterfly effect, and I think that we are going to find out, because there are 2 sequels. This wasn't in his head.
right.
I don't know if I forget if the other movies even bring this movie up, but just because there's sequels means that it wasn't in his head. If other people can do it too.
Yeah, if other people can do it too, because yeah, the sequels are like direct to video sequels, I guess. So
Yeah.
they did not have big names attached. which is kind of
No, and
sad.
in fact, I'm going to show off because you should have your Blu-ray by
Oh
you.
shit! Hold
Here's
on, hold on.
so I'm going to show off mine while you get yours. So here's my DVD of the Butterfly Effect, which has a very kind of tinfoily type cover to it.
All right. So yes, I have to.
So we got yep. So you got your Blu-ray. I got to at some point. Does yours have kind of like that metallic
Yeah, it's got the little.
thing like
Yeah.
that?
Actually, no, it doesn't. But yours is a sleeve, right? Is yours a
No,
sleeve?
this is
Oh,
well. There's no. It's just the cover.
no,
It's
this
just the
this
insert for it.
isn't. This isn't metallic, but it has director's cut commentary, the director's cut theatrical version, the science and psychology of the chaos theory, which is
Yeah,
what
same one.
what this is. So it has
Yeah,
everything that
same thing.
the
Yeah.
DVD has. It's just a Blu-ray of it, which I mean, the Blu-ray costs like $10, so it was definitely worth it.
Oh
Um,
yeah. I want to eventually, and then I got my Butterfly Effect too,
I don't have
which
that yet, which I have
has
to figure
audio
out.
commentary.
I may have to get the I may have to do the because I don't have it. I'm gonna check my local thrift store, and see if they might have like whatever. Or I might see about picking up what is it? Picking it up on Amazon for whatever amount it is and
Yeah,
do the
because
one
since
day
we're so
delivery.
curious about this stuff, that this has audio commentary by the director and co-producer on the set of the Butterfly 2 and more. So
Wonder if
yeah, so even though this wasn't considered to be great, they did put an effort in the special features though.
hmm,
So
is there okay, so Butterfly Effect 2 and 3. I'm so mad that all the butterfly effects are on Cinemax,
yeah,
like not
this
on
here's
my.
part 3, Revelations.
Yeah, so I don't have any of those. I need to find the DVDs of them on
This is part of that After Dark Horror Fest. This is, I guess, number 3, 8 films to die for. This is the one where I think that they could have made a TV show out of it.
Oh shit, I'm so mad right now. I'm seeing Butterfly Effect 1 and 2
I told you that.
on Blu-ray
I
with the
told you they were
director's
a double
cut.
feature.
Fuck, I know you did, but I forgot. I just saw the
Now,
first one.
part 3 does not have audio commentary, unfortunately.
Oh, God damn it.
Yeah, that's very skimpy on its.
Okay, so just so people know, if you want to get the Blu-rays of the Butterfly Effect 1 and 2, there are 2 versions. One looks like it just has the theatrical. So make sure you get the one that says director's cut on it at the top. But god damn it. I did
If
not
you,
pick that up. But you're right,
yeah,
the Blu-ray of the Butterfly Effect 3 is the best of Horror Fest and has a movie called Broken as a double feature with the Butterfly Effect. So you
oh,
can
that I
get
don't
that.
know.
Yeah. So that's a double feature right there for I guess the After Dark Horror Fest, which I think that's a little weird to make a third movie be part of another series, but whatever. They're all the same company, I guess.
What do you mean?
Well, because it's the third one is part of the After Dark Horror Fest, which is a series of films that were done for the After Dark Horror
Right.
Fest in Toronto. So the Toronto After Dark Horror Fest was, I remember having a bunch of them, but I don't have all of them, which would be nice, you know. And I guess having these two would help be part of that. But it was having it be part of that series and also be like a third, you know, part of a trilogy, just feels weird to me. I don't know. I don't like it, but
There you go. I don't like it.
I don't have to like everything, man. What
You
is
don't
wrong?
like everything. You barely like anything.
No, there's a lot of stuff I like. I just don't like, uh, whatever.
I find it hilarious
Oh
Well,
Lord.
I think a good double feature with the first Butterfly Effect film, but it has to be the director's cut, would be The Mist. Talk
Yeah, I
about
haven't.
two films that have, oh my God, the endings of both these films just bring tears to your eyes.
Yep.
You've never seen The Mist?
I don't think I have.
Oh my God.
I had to pretend like, oh yeah, yeah, I know what you're talking about, but no. It's a Stephen King thing,
Oh,
right?
yeah, yeah. They Frank Darabont changed the ending, and
Of
Stephen King
course.
says his ending is better than the book.
Oh wow, that's a first, like Stephen King never says that.
Oh, the ending to The Mist is just devastating. I mean, it is just like, oh my God. And it's the same type of thing with this, where you're just absolutely floored. So
I
yeah,
don't
you
know. I actually, it's honestly, I liked that he killed himself because I mean that sounds terrible. Oh,
no.
I'm happy that he committed suicide or whatever. But because it brought up that whole idea, and my friend and I were talking about that whole idea of if you had never been born, you know,
Well, It's a
would
Wonderful
people's
Life
lives, yeah, would people's
does
lives
that.
be better? Right. Which I have seen. So I don't. I'm not I like it a lot, but I'm not a huge like it's too depressing for me to like, you know, to watch all every year or something for Christmas, like some people do. I'm
Have
like,
you
this is
noticed
not
that there's a lot of depressing Christmas movies out there? Like,
I don't
It's a
watch
Wonderful
depressing
Life
Christmas
ends
movies.
happily, but like, look at Scrooge. Scrooge is terrifying.
Yeah,
As a kid, I was terrified by Scrooge.
when I was a kid, I didn't watch like the a Christmas was it Christmas
Christmas
Carol?
Carol.
Christmas
Yeah.
Carol. I never watched the old like George C. Scott. It wasn't until I got older that I watched that.
No, no, it's not.
But I
No,
didn't
there's a
watch that,
black
but
and white one that is just
I
terrifying as a
thought that
child.
oh no, that you're right. That was God, what was that guy's name? It was an old well, obviously he's dead now, but there was
That
this
one's called Scrooge, and then there's a Christmas Carol is another one that they made. That
okay.
one's not as good, but Scrooge I have like a download of, and I've watched it every so often at Christmas. I
Um
watch it, and it's like, wow, how could they play this thing on TV? I mean, as a kid, I had
I
nightmares.
liked Scrooged.
Scrooge is fun.
See, I do like stuff. I like Bill Murray. He can
There you go.
generally make me laugh.
Well, okay,
Generally.
and he was in Groundhog Day, which kind of has a butterfly effect feel to it.
Yeah, like well, I mean,
That
that
actually
was
started a whole new
that was
genre, actually.
oh God.
Now everything is known as the Groundhog movie.
Yeah, like Happy Death Day or
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh,
what
yeah.
was the other
It's
what was the
Happy
other
Death Day
movie?
to me.
There
Um,
there was oh
Run Lola Run.
there was there's an episode of Supernatural that did that too.
X Files did it.
See, the Supernatural and X-Files are sort of together too, so that makes sense. And
I even
they
think
have a
the
connection to Final Destination, so there you go.
oh
All
no, now I
bringing
got
it
to watch
back.
all those. Yeah, they I think they even did it on the Dead Zone, the TV show for the Dead Zone, as he goes to like a bank and he can
I never
see
saw
the
it.
robbery.
Are you talking about the one with Anthony and Michael Hall?
Yeah.
Okay. No, I just never saw it. Like
You
I
got
know
to
of
see
it.
The Mist, man. How can you not see The Mist?
Maybe we'll do it for Mainstream Monday because
It
it's a
is it is
Mainstream Monday or movie and it's a horror film. But you did kind of well, you said it was depressing and you didn't say what happened, so thank God.
no, no.
Uh,
If you haven't seen it, I'm not going to. I mean, the whole movie is depressing, but it's got a great beginning with some Stephen King Easter eggs and a John
After
Carpenter
the
Easter egg.
butterfly effect, we need something to watch anyway. We haven't figured it out, so there you go, people. Get ready for the mist. Um, but what was I gonna say? So to go back to the butterfly effect, which is the movie we're here to discuss,
Yes,
not all these other things.
but at least they're butterfly, effect related in a way. So
That's right. But I've always been fascinated with the idea of alternate timelines. Obviously I'm into multiverse and stuff with Marvel and everything, and I've always sort of, it. the first time I really like thought about it was, did you ever see that movie Slacker? Like
The
Richard Linklater made?
I don't remember it, but I did. I watched it when it originally came out.
Right. And there was a bit where Richard Linklater's character is waiting for like a taxi or something at the airport. And then he goes into the taxi, gets in there, and he starts giving this philosophical discussion, like all Richard Linklater stuff. And he starts telling him that like, that there are uh you know, alternate realities that get thought of if, say, you think of something, right? Say you're thinking, I'm gonna go pick up that phone, right? But you say, nah, never mind, I'm not gonna pick up that phone, right? Well, because you thought about picking up that phone a second ago and you're gonna do it, but you didn't do it, you have now created another timeline where you did pick up that phone. So another timeline, another alternate reality, you're picking up the phone and maybe you're calling somebody and something is, right? So he was saying like he was like maybe I should have stayed at the bus station, or whatever, should have because you didn't have money. But he was like thinking if I had stayed at the bus station, maybe I would have met somebody else, or well, something else would have happened. And now that timeline is created. Somebody else, my alternate self is meeting up with somebody else and having a different life, you know? And so that's why I like to, in a way, I thought about this movie is when I saw it, I go, oh man. So every time he goes to, do something, it's creating a different alternate reality that's happening to him that only he knows is alternate, right? You know,
Yeah,
nobody else around him.
wouldn't he get confused? Because he's getting those rushes where he's like it's changing his memory and it's doing all this stuff and wouldn't he forget the other ones, or would he have so many memories that it would be confused?
Well, apparently he can remember all of that stuff because remember,
I mean, I could barely remember yesterday.
I can barely remember yesterday. He's got a good memory. Maybe he's like Sheldon. He's got an identical memory. I don't know, but it didn't seem like it. But I'm just saying, he had a better memory than I did because he remembered all these different timelines because he kept trying to fix it, and every time he fixed it, like he blew off his arm. Man, that scene when he woke up and he had like some nubs for arms, like
They
hands, and
show you the visual effects guys show you that in the special features how they did that. It was actually
oh,
very
that's cool.
complicated.
I'll have to check it out. Definitely.
Yeah, the features are good. I just kept wondering, like, God, how could he keep track of stuff? If he still
Right.
has all these memories, and then wouldn't he have the memories of, let's say, like the frat boy? Wouldn't he then get all of his memories if everything's kind of being sucked away that we see? Wouldn't then the new memories of the frat boy come in?
I thought so too, but apparently not. Because remember, he didn't even know how to walk right, talk right. He didn't know what the heck was going on. It was almost like his normal self was there, but so I thought all his memories would be there and all his feelings and all this other stuff. However, if you did that, if you made it that way, then the first time that happens, then he wouldn't be interested in the journal anymore, right? Like he wouldn't be on this crusade to fix everything, because because he doesn't have
Right.
all these, so I think the idea is that he is living this other person's life, that everybody else knows that he's not. It's almost like he's kind of taking over his own body again. That's how I kind of view it. I don't know if
So
that's right or
so
wrong.
he's done this 3 times.
Right.
So how many lives has he gone through?
I think it was more than that. Wasn't it more than 3 times?
The mother said 3 at the beginning and then 4 at the end. So I don't know if she considers him to be number 4 or he'd be number
What are you
5. Like it
talking
was
about?
the stillborns.
Right. Well,
So if she's had, and we said it's 3, we'll just say that it's 3. How many? So that means that he's gone through this 3 times.
Are you saying that the stillborns were him?
Yeah, over
Oh,
and over and over
I
until
thought
he
the
become.
stillborns were different babies that they tried to have.
I think it's him.
I don't think so.
I think that he's born, lives through all this shit, which could be different, and then realizes I'm the problem, kills himself, stillborn. Then he's born, goes through it all again. I'm the blame. I'm the problem. Kills himself, stillborn number two.
Well, if that
Because
is the
that's that because the mother says, "Oh no, not again," while she's giving birth.
It's true.
So
But I
he
thought,
keeps
but
killing himself.
when I heard that, my idea was that she had said she had lost three babies. So my idea was that when she said that that oh no, not again, was that the baby was stillborn again. Like there was nothing she could do. So you might be
Right.
right. You
So
might be right, but there's no proof that that happened, like they didn't come right out and show you that he's tried it three times, three
well,
different
they
times.
can't because when he does go back into the womb, she wouldn't know him as being born. She would know him as a stillborn.
Right.
So everybody would. The father would. Maybe the father went nuts because the baby was
I
stillborn
I
every
just
time.
I just thought because they did talk to that one gypsy lady, fortune teller
You
lady or
have no
whatever.
lifeline.
Yeah, you have no soul.
You have no
You're not
soul. You shouldn't be
you
here.
shouldn't be here and stuff. And when she said that, and he was like, "What?" And it was, then he said the best line of the whole movie. I guess, if you're psychic, then I'm doing this. He takes
Yeah.
the money back. I'm like, and I thought, damn, yeah, that's good. I like that.
It's because he has to kill himself. And she sees that. She sees there's no
Well,
lifeline.
yeah, but
And
so
so he
I
has
just
to be a
always
stillborn.
just visioned it as that he wasn't supposed to be here because he was supposed to die just like his, other his brothers and sisters or whoever died in the womb, right? So he was supposed to die too. Like maybe his mom's got something fucked up inside her, just doesn't
No,
let him
I
show.
think he kills himself every single time.
That's,
That
I
he's
mean,
murdered himself in her womb every time.
that's a good explanation. I'm just saying, there's no real proof of it because you would have to actually literally show him the first time being born, doing all this stuff, then dying, you know, killing himself, then being born again, then what I mean? Like it would have to be a whole thing of like, but then you wouldn't get the twist ending at all. You wouldn't get the
Well, you got to
like,
think because it does deal with time travel that it's how many times has he done this? Just like in Groundhog Day, they asked Ivan Reitman. No, not Ivan Reitman.
Harold Ramis.
Harold Ramis, how long Bill Murray was stuck there, and I think he
Right.
said something like 125 years.
100 wow, shit.
To that's why he could play the piano so well. That's why
That would make sense.
yeah. And then for Terminator, they said, well, how many times does Terminator happen? The original. So you
Right.
have to have, and I think they said something like 2 or 3 times because
Well,
it has to be that the war, you have to have the normal time, which has to go into the war, which then has to send somebody. I mean, it's complicated. Like once you start thinking of it, it makes no sense. But I think with Terminator, they said like it was 2 or 3 times, maybe more.
all right, because we're talking about time travel and all this other shit. What do you think of the Mandela effect? Do you believe in it, or do you think it's just bullshit?
No, I think that people do see things differently. I know I've done that. Okay, I thought the dog scene in this was much more violent.
Right.
I thought you got to see the. I could swear I could picture it in my head right now. That dog burning and screaming, which is
It
why I
did.
hate that scene so much. Not as much as what my head shows.
Oh, okay. But it did
So
show that, and that was rough for me.
see, and
Um,
and and I don't like any of that stuff because of my love for animals, but it didn't bother me this time.
well, it didn't bother me at all either, which pissed me off a little bit. because like I was like because at first I was like, oh no, I don't like this. I don't like this. And then because I don't see the dog in the burlap, it almost felt like there was no dog in the burlap. There was just a voice going, right? That right? And so I never once got bothered by it as much as I as I would have like that's the worst. There's two movies that have the two worst dog deaths that I've ever seen on film. And I don't even know if I'll ever watch them again just because of these two saints. One is Fear with Mark Wahlberg, where the
Oh
dog
yeah.
goes through the doggy door. The head goes
I
through the
thought that was
doggy door.
hilarious. Actually,
I
I
did
laughed.
not. I did not. I thought it was fucked up, and I almost stopped watching the movie because I just couldn't take that. The other one is Needful Things, where they see like the a dog like fucking skinned alive or whatever. There's
That's
like
the
a
stuff that I don't like, because even in
yeah,
like Straw Dogs, both versions of Straw Dogs is they kill the cat, they strangle it,
right.
and we never see them strangle the cat, but we see the cat hanging in their closet by its neck, and it's just got this just like rope, not like a noose, but it's just like, oh here, and then they hang it up, and so I yeah, the stuff with like Needful Things, yeah,
But
that really bothers me.
to go to the point where you were saying that that Fear made you laugh, what made me
Because it
laugh.
just seems, it was just so dumb.
Have you seen Boondock Saints?
I've never seen it. I own the movie and I own the documentary, and I've never
Never
watched
mind,
it.
I shouldn't say anything then. But I will just yeah, I won't say anything because there's an animal death in it that actually made me laugh. But it was sort of made to be like that, And that's okay. Like if like because I mean then made me start thinking, oh my god, I'm fucked up because I laughed at an animal death. Like if it's done in a sort of cartoony way where it's sort of tongue in cheek or goofy, I'm okay with it. But when it's like you laughed at it because it's dumb of the dog going through the dog door, the head of the
Just
dog
has
going
this
through the dog
dumb
door.
head.
Yeah, it was probably some puppet, whatever.
Oh, it
And
was. It was just
maybe
a fake
maybe if
head.
I rewatch the movie again, it just won't bother me as much. But the first time I saw it, I basically cried because I just couldn't take that shit.
Well, I
And
mean,
I just
there's that meme out there, and I just posted it not too long ago, where it's from In the Mouth of Madness, and
right.
you're seeing that, the guy on the bus, and he's sitting there smiling, and it goes, "When I see a human die in film," and then the picture next to it, it's a different color, and he's screaming. He's like, "No!" And it says, "When I see a dog get killed on film."
When
And
I
that's
see a dog
that.
or when I see a cat or when I see any
Yeah, I
animal
mean, oh,
get
I
killed,
I I
it's
was upset
terrible.
with the original Halloween when Michael killed the dog. I was, upset when the T-1000 killed the dog.
Well,
It's
that thankfully I don't ever watch the director's cut much, of that because I didn't really like the director's cut, but that's the only time you see that scene is where he goes to kill the dog and then he sees that the dog's name was Max. But in the regular cuts or whatever,
the
it
director's got the better version.
the director's cut is not the better version.
It
I don't
is the
think
better
so.
version. It's the
I don't think
much
so.
better version of
I
the
don't
film.
think so, but whatever. Anyway,
It's the
I
much better version of the
I
film.
prefer the theatrical, but that's just me.
The theatrical version that cuts out all the plot. It's
I
just
like
mindless
whatever.
action.
There's a
Director's
lot
cut's
of
much
plot in
better.
that movie. Whatever, whatever.
Much better. Director's cut is much better.
We don't need Michael Bean to come back. We don't need him. No,
Yes,
no.
yes, we do. That was great.
I nope.
Oh my god. You're not allowed to make movies. You're not
All
allowed to make movies. It's that simple. Go
right.
go make films where you have characters walk around for 10 hours. They're
What am I making Lord of the Rings?
no, you could be making an Apex Predators 3.
All right. Apex Predators 3. So they did the spawning.
Walking and talking.
What would be the next one if they're gonna rip off a title for a the spawning now would be yeah, what's another
The
good
the gnawing.
electric boogaloo? I don't know.
Everybody's used that.
I know, but I couldn't think of anything right now at the top of my head. Sorry. And it's
Spawning 3, The Domination,
see, maybe
or Apex Predators 3, The Domination.
Apex Predators 3, the domination. Oh Lord. Well, that would work because Ninja 3, which there wasn't a Ninja 1 or
That's
2.
which is where I'm taking it from.
Yeah.
Well, there
Maybe.
were Enter the Ninja and Revenge of the Ninja.
But they weren't just ninja, you know. It should have
No,
been the domination ninja.
the title is
Or
fine.
domination of the ninja, if they're gonna keep it going like that. So there you go.
Ninja 3, The Domination is one of the greatest bad movies ever made.
I love
The
that movie.
the title is
I
fine.
own it. I own it on Blu-ray. I love it.
Oh, I do not. I need to.
It is amazing. And Paul and I had so much fun on What the Fuck Friday for it, you know. But no, whatever. Anyway, uh what else is well, so with the butterfly effect, I mean, I'm trying to think. The one scene that we haven't talked about that is probably one of the best scenes in the whole fucking movie, in my opinion, is where he gets to meet crack whore Kaylee, who
Big scar on her.
big scar. She's like, this girl has gone through fucking hell, you know, and she is not a happy
I
person.
mean, good for her. Good for her. She had goals, and she got those goals. So prostitute,
I don't know if those were her
heroin
original
addict,
goals, but
shitty
whatever.
apartment, you know. The
So
good
sh
for her. Good for her.
so he ended up tracking her down from her dad and goes to see her and finds out she's a crack whore. And so they talk for a little bit and then they go to a diner and talk some more. And he doesn't convince her because she still thinks he's, you know, making shit up,
Well,
But
because I mean, nobody could see his goal. I mean, it's like it doesn't. She's absolutely correct. Whenever she meets up with him, oh, you got your problems, so now you're trying to work them out because you blacked out. It's none of it seems to help anybody.
right. And then on top of it, when she says pretty much, if you, you fucked everything up for everybody else but yourself, right? Like everybody else's lives have been, so what's next? I'm gonna be in fucking Tijuana or whatever, right? She says some line like that.
Right.
And you know, everything sort of, it doesn't go very well because remember, as a frat boy, he kills fucking Tommy and then he goes to prison for it. And shit, which are you're gonna be like, oh my God, Jonathan. But I do not like prison stories. I do not. I hate being in prison. I
Have you ever
just,
been in prison?
thankfully, no.
Well, then you don't know if you like it or not. How could you?
No, I
You
don't
don't like
like
Shawshank
watching.
Redemption? You don't
I
like?
don't. I actually liked Shawshank Redemption. I will say that,
You are so
but
God.
that
You're
was not.
weird.
That
You're.
wasn't like the typical like. I don't know. It's
It's a
not.
prison movie.
It's
It's
a
the
prison
greatest
movie,
prison movie ever made.
but it had heart. Like most of these things don't have heart. They really like make prison to be this like awful place that it is, And I don't want to see that shit. I don't like Oz. I don't like I hated Sons
You
of Anarchy when they went to prison because it was like, get out of prison. Suits, they went to prison. I'm like, get out of prison. I don't want to see this shit. I want to go back to the real world where
That is the real world.
it's not for
I haven't been to prison, but I've been to jail. So I mean,
yeah,
it's the real world. I mean, I was there for 45 days.
you were in jail
So
for 45 days.
yeah.
Ah, terrible. Was
So
this LA jail or was this
it was in LA, but I don't really want to get that much into it.
okay. I was just saying because LA, man. Oof.
I
I
started in county and then moved to a different facility. So,
ooh,
but
no fun.
but you are now the one thing that I find funny in this that they took Tommy so over the top with being violent, but yet they made him like a normal Christian. Like he wasn't over the top. Not everything was about God. Not everything was about because he's obviously reborn, and I've already stated that reborn, reborn Christians are the worst. But they actually make him mellow, surprisingly. And
Of course, they didn't want to give. I don't know. I think
I would do the extreme.
I
I would,
know.
if
I
they're
know.
going to
You would
do
have made him
if they're doing the extreme with him being a total asshole, then go the other way and make him totally extreme the other way.
like very nice to everybody, and very.
Just no, that everything is Jesus related, everything is God related. If you don't go to church, you're going to hell. That he's getting into people's picnics or whatever, on campus.
It's
You know,
it's interesting to know that this movie takes the idea that if you take people out of a certain element, like their terrible father, and they go and stay with their mother, that they live completely different lives, right? So they're not abused, he doesn't get the shit kicked out of him all the time, and he's a better person, remember? Because that's what the I guess the idea of the of like when he's not born, or when at the end of the movie, right? Like, when either he kills himself, all of a sudden you get you see their lives, and they are living their better life because he wasn't around there, right?
yeah, he's
Evan.
the bad apple, the
Yeah,
broken
he's the
spoke.
bad apple. And so because he was there, they go to live with their mom instead of the dad, and they go off and have a whole nother life, and like he becomes like, I think he was like valedictorian or something at the
Yeah,
school.
yeah.
And I was just like, okay, so that's how he would have been had all this stuff not happened to him. But because he was abused and treated like crap and made to kind of have sex with his sister or whatever, whole twisted, fucked up shit that his dad, Eric Stoltz, who once again, I am a huge Eric Stoltz fan though. I love that guy.
Oh,
I
he's
think
good.
he's great.
Yeah.
I've loved him since like I discovered him from Quentin Tarantino stuff, or whatever.
I've said that since they flirted with the idea of remaking Back to the Future. Let's do what they were originally going to do. I know
Oh
Eric
yeah,
Stoltz
with Eric,
is too old, but I
right.
mean, but I think it'd be interesting to, because if you've ever seen that footage with him in it, it's a very different movie. It's a darker movie. I mean, it's which is
But
what Eric Stoltz thought he was making, was a horror film.
yeah, which
And
I
so
wonder if that was really their intent or not.
I don't think so. I think that's why they got rid of him, because the scene where he walks into town, right, and he's kind of looking all around like, oh my god, what, where am I? It had just rained, and you could see all the rain on the ground, and it's really kind of like cloudy, and it just looks really dark and miserable. And then when you see it shot with Michael J. Fox, it's very bright, it's very colorful.
That also might be a studio thing too. Like maybe the studio didn't like uh that stuff, like they didn't like it being darker, than they wanted it toned up to be more brighter because it's a comedy, not a dark comedy,
Well, yeah, and I think I don't think the rain was done on purpose. I think they just happened to shoot after it rained. But uh, um, that footage is out there. I think it's on YouTube to see. But it's but to go back to something like Butterfly Effect, I mean, it's, yeah, at times you have to remove that bad apple, and like
Mm-hmm.
my mother was the bad apple. So there was
Right.
my grandfather, my grandmother, my uncle, his kids, his wife, me, and nobody would want to get together for Christmas. Nobody would want to get together for Thanksgiving.
Mm-mm.
And because my mom would always start fights, there would always be issues. My mother was, I don't think, is educated very well, so she would swear all the time in front of my grandparents. Were very conservative, and they, and once my grandmother, I mean my mother, one day, and this ended it, called my grandmother a cunt to her face in front of all of us.
God
And
damn.
that did it. Sorry if people are offended by that word, but that's what she said. And since then she wasn't invited to anything. She moved away, and then everything became better. All of a sudden we had Christmas dinners and Thanksgiving and
Mm,
birthdays, and it was like a breath of fresh air. It was like a
yep.
completely different thing. So kind of to go along with butterfly effect, and in a way, my mother kind of killed herself out of our family, and it just made life better.
A guy I know used to always say, like, because people will go back to try, like, maybe they think by going back to that person that, you don't need to be around anymore, right? Like, you wouldn't need to see your mother anymore. But you
No,
think
never.
maybe that seeing her again, I don't know if she's alive or not,
I have
but
no idea. Yeah,
yeah.
I don't know.
But seeing her again maybe will fix something in your past. Like that was the thing with this movie, was Evan was trying to fix his past, right? He thought, like, by doing these things, he was going to set everything right and have, like, the perfect life, He was gonna have the girlfriend, he was gonna have, like, his best friends were gonna be normal, everything was gonna be okay. Problem is, you can't, like, one of the guys says you can't play God, right? I forgot who it was that said it, but somebody was like, you can't play God, you know, and that was absolutely true. Like, that's what he was trying to do, is he was trying to create a universe where everything is fine. My friend calls that when you go to see somebody and try to fix your family life or whatever, and stuff like that because you think it's going to help you. It's going for a six pack of family, you know like a six pack of whatever, like you're going there, but you're really, all you're doing is you're fucking yourself up, or whatever. And I kind of agree with that. I agree that, sometimes it's better to just move on,
Yeah.
and whatnot. And Evan, if Evan hadn't kept his journals, just got rid of them, you know, and everything, which I guess he was using it for the research for his blackouts and stuff. But but it's weird that he's looked at those things before. Well, he hasn't looked at them in years, right? But he's probably had to have read them before. Like, why haven't they do anything before?
If they did a sequel, because at the theatrical version is he burns all the journals with Lenny, who's the one constant person throughout this whole movie. He's always friends with him
Yeah.
in the
Okay.
theatrical version.
Okay. But I'm just saying, like, he's fucked
But
up. Like, at one point Tommy fucks him up, and he has to play with the airplanes. Then later he's dating Kaylee, or whatever, which I thought that was the cutest thing, you know.
which
Um,
Tommy doesn't seem to have a problem with.
what
Tommy doesn't have a problem with that.
did he? Well, no, but he was reborn
No.
again at that point, right?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was the
Yeah, so
religious
he
guy,
was. So I think if
which was the best version of him. Even though I'm atheist and I don't like religion, it for that's the best version of him.
it's
So
so
that
funny though, because I thought he killed that baby, because I think it was Lenny, right? Was it Lenny or was it Tommy that ran and said he was going to save the mother and daughter,
Tommy
or
was
the
the one
mother
who
and baby?
jumped on the mom with the baby.
Right, but I thought
So
he
he
killed the baby, because the way that he landed, I was like, "Oh God, that baby's gonna, like,
just
splat." And then I
like an
thought that,
egg.
like, I thought it was gonna give, like, I saw that scene, and the first thought in my head was, "Oh God, what's gonna happen next?" Because I thought, like, that would fuck that guy up and make him, like, even more psycho for killing a baby.
Okay,
You
so
know?
why not go back to that moment, and instead of just standing in front of the mailbox like an idiot, don't come here, lady, don't come here. Why not go back and push the woman out of the way and be the hero?
Yeah, yeah. That was what
So
he
if he
should
knew
have
that
done.
Tommy, yeah, grabbed her, why not go back again? Tell everybody to stay
Oh,
or
because
whatever.
he's lost his hands at that point, right? So, like,
No, it's the scene that's on your picture
right, but
then.
I'm saying that he went back and he got blown up from the thing, right? He got blown up from the
Right. So he lost
firecracker.
his
He
arms,
lost
but
his
then he
arms.
has Lenny read him he has him like flip the pages on the journal.
Right. So he could have,
So he could have gone back again and
but
maybe
maybe
pushed Tommy down and gone and saved that woman.
no, because remember he said he couldn't write that part. Remember he lost it because he had no hands, so he couldn't actually write down in the journal about it. So he lost going back there. That's why he couldn't go back there because remember he wanted to get rid of the thing, right? Uh what is it? The firecracker, right?
Yeah,
Because
the
the
blockbuster.
blockbuster, which he kept calling that, and I had no idea what I was like, is he going to a blockbuster? What
At
are they
first, I
talking
was
about?
thinking, yeah, like is that the video store he's talking
Yeah, he's
about?
talking
Yeah,
about,
it's
but
kind of a
yeah, it's a weird thing to say.
call
But
it a
anyway,
boom buster or something that we
yeah.
would know is a firecracker.
But anyway, so because he lost his hands, he could not write that part in the journal, right? In that reality. So he never wrote anything more, to it or whatever. So
So what he wrote disappeared.
I guess because he all of a sudden in this timeline, he has no arms. He can't do that. So he had to go back to to the pedophile scene because he did write that earlier, right?
Okay.
So he went back to the pedophile scene. That's why he wanted to take the firecracker out, the blockbuster. But he's stupid and lights it for some reason or another. I don't know. You don't
He
know.
already knew from previous that when he was just standing there threatening
Right.
the dad. So just threaten him again. Just put the firecracker and you wrap it up in your shirt or whatever, or put it in another place in the
Or tell
basement.
the dad, look, listen here, buddy, you're fucking messing with everybody, blah, 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 blah. And take your son's, firecracker out of his, out of the house so he can't ever use that. Because then what'll happen? He'll wake up and, but that
What
never
will wake up?
happens. That never happens. And if it didn't, see what the problem would have happened with that is you're right. They wrote themselves into a corner because if they had done that, then he would have woke up and something else would have been wrong, and they would have had to figure out another way to, to get to where they need to end it, because they're probably writing so much that they're like, shit, how the fuck how do you end this? Like,
Well, they're like, okay, we want him to go to jail because we need to have him do the worst things possible,
right.
burning dogs. So now we need to get him in the prison so he get fucked in the ass.
Mhm.
And so we need that. So how do we get him in there? Well, you know, well, no, but that wasn't Kaylee. That was him beating up the brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I
Which
don't know.
only if he beat him to a pulp, just got him so he was still breathing, he wouldn't have gone to jail.
Yep.
That's all
That's
they
how.
needed to do.
Yeah. If he never went to jail, well, he went to jail and then he had to figure out, and that's why he did a stigmata thing. He had to figure out how to get the journals back. If the journals had just stayed there, he would have just read the journal, in his jail cell and got, like everything. There had to be something that happened that, it's kind of like, what was it? Super Mario Brothers, the terrible, terrible John Leguizamo and Bob Hoskins movie. But
Oh,
there
you
was
mean
like,
the two guys who are not Italian that are playing Italians?
yeah,
Fucking
because
racist movie.
Yeah, and then John Leguizamo got mad at James Franco for playing a Latino. But anyway,
Yeah.
I
Which
mean,
they actually did his lineage, and he actually is related to the guy that he's playing. Not like related, but it's like it's from the same region.
right.
So
So,
it's like
okay.
his great grandfather is actually, so it's like,
Hispanic? Okay.
yeah, it's like, okay, so there is something there that if we
Whatever.
really want to
I don't
dig.
even care. It gave me Entourage vibes of like, it's gonna be Pablo Escobar, like whatever. You've seen Entourage, right?
Yeah, long time ago.
Yeah, was it Vincent Chase plays Pablo Escobar, and he's a very Italian white guy. playing a, whatever. So I'm like, oh, so this is going to be the real life, Median. Like, like, all right, well, I guess that's life imitating art, in a way. Um, but anyway, moving on, back to the story. But yeah, what I was saying with Super Mario Brothers thing is that there was a time where they were trying to get something and it just kept going into other people's hands and stuff, like, getting passed around, whatever. And it's just reminding, like, that reminds me of what's going on sort of with this journal at times. Like, the journal is his way to get back, right, to a different reality and leave. Like, oh, I gotta leave prison, let me get my journal. Uh-oh, the journal is taken over by some gang members who read the journal. Like, that was so strange when you see the gang member again.
White
And
supremacist.
yeah, and he's in the jail cell reading the guy's journal. And I'm like,
yeah, because he took it from him.
Yeah, but why is he all that interested in it?
He's not interested in it. He's making fun of him.
Oh. Well, no, but
that's the shit that they do, and they find your weakness and then they exploit it. So he's purposely reading the journal, knowing that it would piss him off.
Yep. Well, there you go. Did it that it did. All right. Well, we've talked a lot about this stuff. I don't know if there's much more. Is there any scenes or anything? Because there's a long movie, so there's a lot.
It's almost
that
2 hours. Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, it was literally like the director's cut is almost like 2 hours, like a couple minutes, to 2 hours, and then the other one's like an hour and 53 minutes. So there's like 5 minutes, I guess, extra that's on or changed or whatever. But it's a little weird. I don't know. I didn't watch the theatrical version, so I don't know if there's more than just the ending that was changed. Maybe it was.
No, I think it's just the end. It's like the last 10 minutes.
Okay. Well, anyway, I really enjoyed it. I had a fun time. For a really depressing movie, but I had a fun time. I don't like, you would think like this movie is really dark. Like, this is a movie I wouldn't show my dad. My dad hates dark, nasty movies, like that.
Now we know where you get it from.
I get my dislike for stuff. But I like dark, depressing movies. I sort of do, because sometimes I like to be taken to a different place than I'm comfortable with. It's just when it comes to animals, I'm a little, like, a friend of mine, Kate Phoenix, and I were talking about, we watched, what is it? John Waters' Pink Flamingos. And I was very uncomfortable watching that movie with her and Paul, because it's just a very uncomfortable movie to watch. I don't know if you've seen it, right?
I've seen it a couple of times, yeah.
Yeah. It's, but anyway, so we watched it. I reviewed it for What the Fuck Friday. Had a fun time, hanging out, watching it. And we were thinking about doing like a podcast at some point about extreme horror films, and stuff like, the mainly Kate wants me to be a part of it, because originally I did not want to be a part of it because just I'm uncomfortable, right? And that's exactly why she wants me to be a part of it, because to get me out of my comfort, So, she said, as a filmmaker, you should watch movies that make you feel uncomfortable, I don't know if
to
that's
a point.
Yeah.
I don't think I need to watch a movie where a guy sews somebody's mouth to somebody's asshole. I don't care if there's 3 of them or what the status of them are with as far as fandom goes. I don't think I need to see the human centipede. It's just, what's the point?
I met that guy, though. The guy that plays the doctor in it. Well, I didn't meet him. I saw him. He was staring at everybody at a horror convention. It was really weird.
I have no idea. I haven't seen him, so.
Yeah. So anyway, I will at some point probably do the extreme horror stuff, but I mean, like, there's things like Cannibal Holocaust. I had heard they killed animals in that movie for real.
They do.
There was a turtle that got like killed and stuff.
Yeah, there's a sea turtle that gets gutted, but
somebody told me that they ate it afterwards.
Yeah, it's because they're real natives. So
Yeah,
it's so what basically what's ever killed, they did eat from what the director says or the,
made me feel a little bit better that they didn't
but I
just kill
still
it to
don't
kill it.
like it.
They didn't kill it just to kill it, but still, it's I don't want to
I
see
didn't like
that
seeing
stuff.
it.
But
I no, I don't want to see a sea turtle that is alive around and a knife stuck in it. So no.
I don't know. See, I don't really want to see that, but I don't know. It's one of those things of like I'll try, but if I can't do it, like I didn't like pink flamingos with the prolapsed anus scenes, and like I don't want to see that shit, and I was squirming and Paul was laughing because thought that
But
was,
that
and
was
Kate
kind of the
was
point of the
laughing.
whole movie, though, is the world's trashiest family. I mean, that
Right.
was kind of the whole point.
I know. And Paul knows what I don't like, you know? And he sometimes likes to try to push me to those things and stuff because he thinks it's funny. Um but I don't know. Anyway, I don't know what that had to do with the butterfly effect, but
I have no idea either. It took a very long time to get to it, but
well, we're back to the butterfly effect. And we're gonna I guess end this now with our rating, you know? And it's a 1 out of 5. It's our normal 5-star rating. So what would you give it?
4.5.
4.5?
Yeah.
I would agree. I was almost tempted to go 5.
I
I
was
kind of
almost
just
tempted to go 5, but then I think no, Citizen Kane is a 5.
yeah,
This could be 4.5.
yeah, I don't think it's a perfect film. Ah! We're in completely different clothes right now, I believe.
Not me. I always wear my same shirt. It's always
Uh
gray. Always
well,
gray.
I'm in different shirt and mine's green. So yours looks green. I don't know. Anyway, we're
That's probably the
back
lighting. Yeah.
here for butterfly effect. And sorry about that. We actually the internet just completely cut us off and would not let me get back in. And we were freaking out about it, trying to figure out what to do. And I was just like, let's just record this later before before we have to put it up and just end where we are. And so far, knock on wood, we've been good on the internet. So,
Yeah, first time in a long time that it's done like because it used to do it with me when I had the old internet company.
and it used to do that with me too. And I remember I switched my internet thing. So I think
Just a freak.
this it wasn't just like there's been storms like and different issues with the internet coming, so I don't know what happened, but anywho, there it's we're back, and so we're gonna finish this off. I don't remember where we left off, what we said, so I think I cut it at a point where I think I'm gonna be cutting it where it didn't matter, hopefully. So uh here we go. So I guess we gave our rating, didn't we?
We did. I think well, yeah, we did the star rating of, 5 stars. I think
Yeah.
I did
Four
4.
or 4.5. Because we
Yeah.
said it was not 5. So
Yeah,
um
because my thing is Citizen Kane is always the thing. So if you're calling something 5 stars, you're saying
yeah.
it's as good as Citizen Kane, and to me, that's the greatest movie ever made. So it's like, no, this isn't Citizen Kane. But as far as butterfly effect movies go, it's a 4. So I
Yeah,
would say 4. Yeah.
definitely. And I'm excited. We're gonna be talking about Butterfly Effect 2 and Butterfly Effect 3 soon. So we're gonna go through the whole Butterfly Effect stuff. I haven't
I
seen
I
any.
pulled my final destination thing, and I did watch Butterfly Effect 2. So
Oh, you've already watched it?
I was very pissed. My DVD is all messed up.
Mm.
It plays the menu and it won't do anything else. And there is audio commentary and behind the scenes. But so I watched it on Tubi, and Tubi only has parts 1 and 2. It doesn't have part 3.
Oh,
So I do have
what?
part 3. Yeah, it's weird.
I
And
don't know, but
unless
they have it on Tubi, so I can Butterfly Effect 2. Nice.
Yeah, so part 2 is on there. And but oldies.com has a whole mess of butterfly effects. So you could get like 1, 2, and 3 separate. You can get 1 and 2 together.
Are
You
you
can get
sure? Because
3
it's
with the
not on
bonus.
my it is not on my Tubi.
Part 2, that's where I watched it.
Maybe did they just get rid of it? Because it's not on this.
I watched it yesterday.
I'm telling you, man, I'm not making this up.
I just typed in butterfly and it popped right up with the first one.
No. Look. This is all that's popping up on I can't see it. Fuck.
Yeah, you got your thing going there.
Yeah. But it says butterfly, and it has a thing called butterfly effect, but it says it's 3 seasons of a documentary. So then
Well,
there's
did you type in effect?
yeah, and then that's the only one that pops up for when you pipe up effect. This is weird. I'm gonna look up Ashton Kutcher right now, see what pops up.
Oh, no. You know where it is?
Where?
HBO.
Oh,
Because it's
okay.
New Line.
Oh, okay. All
So
right.
it's on HBO. My bad, people. Yeah,
All
HBO.
right.
So
I
1
was
and
gonna
2
say,
are on HBO, unless part 3 has a longer title at the beginning of it, because it's part of that like 8 films to die for. Part 3 did not pop up, but I did find an oldies.com. Like I said, they have like a mess of them and they're all cheap. So I'm gonna order the Blu-ray for part 2.
okay. Well,
But
awesome.
yeah. And I'm going to be very interested in what you think of part 2, because this was me during part 2.
The whole time.
Yeah.
All right.
This is me during the first one.
Well, yeah, the first one, period. That was just a fucking crazy ass movie. Like, you know,
Yeah.
it's so yeah. So it's really hard to outdo a movie that already has kind of outdone itself. You know, so I would be interested to see sort of what they do. But anyway.
Yeah.
Anywho, we're done. We're out. So thank you guys so much for checking this out. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let us know what you guys think. Hit us up on it's the Horror Film Lovers. Horror Film Lovers. Hit us up on Horror Film Lovers and Indie Film Cafe, because Horror Film Lovers is associated with Indie Film
Yes, it
Cafe.
is.
So there you go. But we have our Horror Film Lovers website. Oh, well, not website, but YouTube and TikTok. So check those out. And I think we're also on Instagram. So check those all out. Facebook, anything, just look up at Horror Film Lovers or at Horror Film Lovers TV, and you'll see everything. So thank you guys for checking this out and hope you guys enjoyed it. Bye.
Thanks, everybody.